Hi, welcome to the channel. This is Auffarth Games. Today I want to share with you a new game that I've been working on called Crux. Crux is a two-player abstract strategy game. It's got a medieval theme, as you can see. It came about while I was watching one of my favorite films called The King. This is a movie you can find on Netflix. It's a very good movie. I enjoyed very much. And I felt inspired by the Battle of Agincourt. It's a battle that takes place at the end of the film. And it's a very famous battle because it was one of the greatest military victories in English history. And really one of the greatest underdog victories in all of, warfare history. So it's a very interesting moment in history, and I felt inspired by it. I really wanted something that felt classic, something that felt kind of timeless. I wanted something that kind of had the look and feel of a medieval game, something that maybe the soldiers would have been playing at that time. And I kind of, a lot of people feel a little weary when an abstract game has a die, but I included it in this game, partially for very good reasons, but I tried to take it out as a component of the game because a lot of people want absolute zero random elements in an abstract strategy game, but I included it because a lot of medieval games include dice. And so I kind of felt it was true to the period, and it kind of fits with the feel and the aesthetic of what I'm going for. So hopefully, for the purists out there, that doesn't bother you too much. But let's take a look at Crux. Crux is a game. It's a medieval warfare game between two armies. Each army has 8 soldiers, and they are placed on the intersections nearest to the player, the nearest 8 intersections, because in this game, you can see the board has this kind of beautiful pattern here. And you can see there's a special place here. This is called the fortress, okay, this point here. This would be the dark side's fortress, and this would be the light side's fortress. And that is the objective of the game. The objective of the game is to get any one of your pieces into the enemy's fortress. So let's set up the board and see how the game works. During the game, pieces will move along these lines from intersection to intersection. Okay? During your turn, you have 2 actions, and the possible moves that you can make are either move from one intersection to another intersection for 1 action, or you could turn, okay, and you can turn it kind of a 45-degree angle. So that's very important. You can turn, and the direction that your sword is pointing is key to combat in this game. So on my turn, with my 2 actions, I might move and move, or I might move and turn. Okay, so that's how that might work. So let's kind of figure out what this game is about. Well, we have the soldiers, and we have this piece here, which is a neutral piece. This is called the banner, if you can see that. This is the banner. And the banner is placed at the start of the game in one of these 6 middle spaces. So depending on who the first player is, you decide randomly. The first player will roll the die. So let's do that now. And we have a 5. So from the first player's perspective, let's say that light is the first player. You're going to count starting from 1 left to right. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would be 6. So this is the 5 space. And because we rolled a 5 on the die, we're going to place that banner in the 5 space. And that's how you set up the board. So on your turn, you take 2 actions. My goal, the light's goal, is to arrive here. If I can arrive here, I win the game. Might look something like this. Okay, let's say this piece wasn't here. On my turn, if this was the situation, I might go 1 and 2, and I have won the game. I've arrived to the enemy's fortress. Now, continuing on, let's talk about the banner piece. On your turn, you can only move your soldiers that are located on a line that intersects with the square where the banner is located. So this banner is here, and the square that it is located on is made up of 4 lines, right? It's here, here. So these 2 soldiers, if it was light's turn, could be moved. This piece would have to move first so that this one can move to an intersection. There's this line, so I could move this soldier. And there's also these lines, so I could move these 2 as well. So if I wanted on my turn, if it was something like this, if I wanted to move this soldier and the banner was here, I am restricted. I cannot move this soldier because the banner does not intersect with this line or this line. So that's the key to the game, is controlling where the banner is, because where the banner is, that's the influence that you have over your army. So on my turn, I would take my 2 actions, moving and turning pieces that intersect with the banner. So I could move this one, for example. I might go 1, 2. I could have turned as well, but I decided to just move. I could have done 1 and 2, but instead I want to get closer to the fortress, so I'll go 1, 2. Then at the end of my turn, I'll roll the die, and depending on the number, that's where I can move the banner. So it's very simple. If I roll an even number, such as 2, 4, I can move the banner orthogonally. So that's here, 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 or here. So that's kind of up, down, left, right kind of thing. But if I roll an odd number, such as 1, 3, and 5, I can move the banner diagonally. It's kind of over these little corners here. So I can move it up here, I could move it over here, or I can move it down. I couldn't move it over here because that's off the board. This is not a space. So that's how that works. I would roll the die, and I get to decide where the banner goes now for the other player's turn. So I have some limited control over what my opponent can do. I have kind of a little bit of influence over what they can and cannot move to a certain point. So thinking about this in this particular moment, let's talk about combat. In this particular situation, there's no problem here. I am fine, but if the banner were to intersect here, this opponent could turn their soldier And now you can see that their sword is pointing directly at me. Okay? Now in this game, it's not like chess. You do not need to move into the space of where an enemy is. You just need to be adjacent with your sword pointing at them. So if this were like this, for one action, the opponent might turn, and now they have jabbed me from the side. So they remove me from the board, and I have been eliminated from the game, that particular soldier. And then with their second action, they might, I don't know, they might turn back looking forward, or they might move this way. Okay? And that would be their turn. And then they would roll the die, and they would turn the piece. But let's go back. It's the end of my turn. I need to roll the die. Let's say that I roll a 4. So that's even. I can move it here, orthogonally here, here, or here. Now, I do not want to move it here because I don't want them to turn and eliminate me. Look how close I am to winning the game, to getting to the fortress. So I want to move this banner to a spot where they cannot control, where they cannot move this soldier. So now the banner is not intersecting with this line. They can't move this. They can move these soldiers and nothing else. Only 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the lines that intersect now with the banner. So you can see moving the banner is everything in this game. It's not just moving your pieces. It's setting up where the banner will be in the future to give you the greatest advantage and the least advantage for your opponent. So as of right now, I am safe here because now it's the opponent's turn, and they cannot manipulate the soldiers on this line because it doesn't intersect with the banner. Are you following me? I hope so. So now let's take a look here at a couple situations, combat situations. As we said, all I need to do is I need to be adjacent with my sword pointing at an enemy, and I can eliminate them. I can kill them and eliminate them from the game. So that's how that works. But what if we had a situation like this, where their sword is pointing at my sword? It's kind of the tip of the sword to the tip of the sword here. I can move, and this does not eliminate this. This does not eliminate this player. Instead, they are now in this particular situation. If I were to move here, they are not eliminated from the game because they are facing me. Okay? The tip of the sword is facing the tip of my sword, so they are clashing. And instead of being eliminated, they are pushed. I have pushed them, and I can choose to push them to any adjacent intersection on the board. So I might, on my turn, I might go 1, and that pushes them. And let's say that we had something like this. Let's go back. I might move for my first action, push them to this adjacent intersection. I could have pushed them here or here, but let's say I push them here, and for my second action I turn this piece, and now I have eliminated them because they were not properly facing me and clashing with me. Instead, I jabbed them on the side. So they are eliminated, and I have successfully gotten rid of one of their soldiers. Now, that is how combat works. Now, there is another way to win the game. Let's eliminate a few of these soldiers. It's very, very, very devastating to lose soldiers in this game because if at any point in the game I can maneuver the banner to a particular place where the opponent has no soldiers to manipulate on their turn, I have won the game. So let's say that it was the end of my turn. I roll the die. Let's say I get a 4. That's an even number. I can move this orthogonally here or here. I wouldn't move it here because then they could move this, this, and this. Instead, it would be wiser to move it here, and look at this. On this line, the dark player has no soldiers to manipulate on their turn. They have no soldiers on this line, or any on this line or this line. So they have no influence over their army, and they have lost, and light is the victor. So that is an alternative way to win the game. So those are the basic rules of the game. Let's do an example playthrough here so that you can get an idea of what this looks like. Hopefully, it'll all come together and be quite clear. So, let's begin. Let's say that white is the first player. So I would take the dice, I would roll it. That is 3. So from my perspective, left to right, I would go 1, 2, 3. The banner is placed here, and now it is my turn to move. So looking at the banner, I can move soldiers on this line, on these lines, nothing on this line. I could also move these on this line here. I think I'm going to move this soldier. 1, 2. Roll the die. I've got a 4. I can move the banner orthogonally. Okay. Two. Okay, that's the dark player. The dark player is rolling a die. They've rolled a 6. They'll move it there. Now it is the light player's turn. I cannot advance this soldier because it's not on a line that intersects with the banner. So I will defend this point here. Coming along on the edges of the board is a really great way to get into the fortress. The middle is a lot more risky because you can be pinned or jabbed from different sides. So I'll move that there. 1 and 2. Now I'll roll the die. I've got a 1. Odd numbers are a bit of an advantage for moving the banner because moving the banner diagonally is quite powerful because it really gives you a lot of distance in moving the banner rather than just one space over. You can move it diagonally over. The more you play, that'll kind of make sense. Okay, so this is light's turn. I'm moving the banner. I do not want this guy to advance anymore, so I'll move this over here. But I also don't want this to move over here because he can eliminate my soldier creeping up on this side. So I think... I think I'll just have to move it here. Now it is the dark player's turn. They're going to turn and move. And they have jabbed me here from the side, so they eliminate me. And those were their 2 actions. Now they roll the die. They've got a 6. And they'll move the banner here. Maybe here. All right. 1, 2. Now this has been eliminated. Roll the die. A 6. I'm going to move that there. Dark player's turn. 1, 2. Okay, they've got a 1. They can move it diagonally. There. Now it is the light player's turn. 1, push, and 2. Roll the die. This goes here. Now it is the dark player's turn. They cannot control this, even though they'd like to turn and jab that enemy there. They cannot. So they'll keep creeping down here. 1, 2, and this has been pushed. Now, a very important thing to note here, if it was a situation like this, to push, and this cannot be pushed to an adjacent space, it would also be eliminated from the game. That's a very important aspect to the game. Push, and now they roll the die. All right, so the dark player pushed this enemy. Then they will move the banner. Let's say they moved it here. That's not a good move for them, but let's just say I will turn for my first action, eliminate, and then move, which is going to eliminate that enemy there. Now I will roll the die and move the banner this way. Now it is time for the dark player. They will attempt to get rid of, let's see here. We have 1, 2, roll the die. They will move this here, although that would not be a good move for them. But let's say they did. Now the light player moves for their final turn into the enemy's fortress, and the light player would be the victor. So that is just a very poorly played game of Crux, just to give you an idea and feel for the game. This is still in beta testing. There's a couple things I'm playing around with. I'm wondering if maybe if you roll a 6, maybe then you can choose to move the banner in any direction that you want, one space, maybe orthogonally or diagonally. You can decide when you roll a 6. That's a possible option. Another win condition that I'm exploring is there is no fortress. Maybe you just want to arrive to any of the 4 corner intersections. Perhaps that could be an option as well. That might open up and make the middle of the board more feasible. Or also it could be make going up the other edge of the board a feasible option as well. So those are a couple things I'm exploring as I'm getting the final rule set together. Those of you that watched the How to Play Caw video, thank you so much for your support. There is going to be a final rule set uploaded to BoardGameGeek.com very, very soon. That game has had a lot of playtesting and it's made a lot of advances. And also, there will be a way to play online. So I will be sharing that on the channel very shortly. Thank you so much for your support, and I hope you enjoyed. Please test out Crux. I will have this up on BoardGameGeek.com with some print and play files and rules very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.